Welcome to Just Energy Radio with your host, naturopath and medical intuitive, Dr. Rita Louise. We have learned from Einstein's theory that matter and energy are one. Physicists believe that all systems in nature have their own particular way of vibrating. From the swinging of a pendulum to the waves of the ocean to the light that brightens the sky each day, each of these oscillates at its own unique rate. The same holds true for every thought, feeling, event, or word we speak. Each has its own frequency or rate of vibration. What many of us don't realize is when we take everything in our universe down to its simplest form, it is all just energy. Join Dr. Rita Louise on a journey through time and space where past, present, and future collide. Today, what you believe may be called into question. What we want to know is, who made up the rules? Be brave and step outside the box. We are about to turn our world upside down and venture into the unknown. Hold on. We are departing our own beliefs and entering alternative realms. Enjoy the possibilities.
Hello and welcome to Just Energy Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show today. Oh my God, yet another excellent episode. In the first hour, we're going to be speaking with Betsey Lewis about the way to ancient earth wisdom. And in the second hour with Mark Allen about Tantra, living the life of your dreams. Just Energy Radio is brought to you by soulhealer.com, where you can find out about all the products and services I offer, including medical intuition evaluations, energy healings, and psychic readings. Come on, we all have stuff going on in our lives, and sometimes we just need some help or guidance in figuring out the right path in which to move. I can help you in that way. Give me a call, drop me an email, and we can set up a time for a private consultation. It's also brought to you by the Institute of Applied Energetics, where you can start a new career as a medical intuitive counselor, or energy medicine practitioner, all from the comfort of your own home. That's www.appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. If you haven't heard, I've also released a new video called In the Name of God, and it's now available. It's a short, so it's a quickie video, but it's also available on Amazon.com. The name of it again is In the Name of God. It's on the Amazon digital download shelf right next to Icon, Deconstructing the Archetypes of the Ancients, or some of the other videos that I've been releasing on YouTube, or not YouTube, on Amazon. Anyway, this one is In the Name of God. Bah, bah, bah. I feel like some lightning should happen with that. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about Betsy, and we're going to get her on to talk about her new book, Earth Energy: Return to Ancient Wisdom. Betsey Lewis is a renowned international psychic, the host of Rainbow Vision Network, an Earth Mysteries investigator and Earthkeeper. Beginning at age 3, the paranormal had been the normal for her when 2 UFO encounters and communication with the other side. Betsy has investigated and researched UFO sightings, cattle mutilations, angels, aliens, and other Earth mysteries for the past 40 years. She's appeared on a number of radio and TV radio shows, spoken at conferences and events, and has several other books, which include Communicating with the Other Side, True Experiences of Psychic Mediums, Mystic Revelations of 13, and Angels, Aliens, and Prophecies, which was a cool book, and 3 children's books. To find out more about her website is betseylewis.com. So please welcome to the show, Betsey Lewis. Hey, girl.
Hey, great to be back on your show, Dr. Rita.
Well, I am just so excited to have you back on, and this new book,
you.
Earth Energies. You know, I have to tell you, I was a little surprised because I've always thought of you as kind of the psychic angel, maybe they're really alien kind of gal.
Yeah, well, I wear many hats, actually.
But that's cool. It just seems very timely because it seems like we're at a point where, well, and I want to get into this later in the show, so I'm just going to make commentary, that things are just really changing on the planet.
Yes.
But let's start here. Why did you decide to write Earth Energies: Return to Ancient Wisdom?
Well, because I see such a separation with humanity and, with our planet and what is happening. I mean, so many unconscionable things are happening to our planet right now. Everything is accelerating. We're going into, uncharted territory. The earth is responding to the toxins and the poisons that we're putting into it. We've just forgotten that everything is alive and has a consciousness. And that's what the ancient people, thousands of years ago, knew and practiced in their ceremonies. And I think that's so important that we get back to that we start praying and talking to the planet again. Mother Earth is alive. She's a sentient being. And, I grew up around nature. I grew up here in Idaho, and I spent 10 years during the 90s with Indigenous people throughout the Northwest, in Belize, Central America, and in Canada with powwows. And I learned so much about their culture and everything that they do, and how they have a reverence for Mother Earth, and they honor everything. They say prayers. If they chop down a tree, they pray for the tree. If they kill something for meat, they pray over it and thank it. And we've forgotten how to have that gratitude for everything. And I think if we don't get back to this, back to this reverence, this honoring of Mother Earth, and knowing that she's alive, I think we're in dire straits right now. We've got to do something right now. We're at the 12th hour, and we just can't waste any more time.
Not even the 11th hour anymore.
I know.
12th hour.
We're here. We've arrived.
Yeah. I find it interesting that you're talking about people looking to information that is coming out of these indigenous cultures, because over the past 100 years, 200 years, pick a date, when we've interacted, I mean, especially in the late 1800s, when there was that movement to go and explore the Philippines and interact with those cultures there, we saw their cultures as being foolish and primitive and backward.
Yes.
Do you find the same thing?
With Indigenous people, I think they are more in tune with everything and all the invisible energies that we've forgotten about. We are so in tune with our modern world, with our electronic gadgets, that we've forgotten that there is an invisible world around us. And they've known that for thousands of years. They've practiced that, Dr. Rita, and I know you have investigated it. You've gone back to ancient cultures, and I think we have to learn from them again. I really do, especially with what's happening to our planet. I mean, look at all the extreme weather. Excuse me. We're having droughts, flash floods, wildfires everywhere. Incredible winds are happening. The tornadoes are, this past spring has been crazy. You had flash floods throughout Texas and in the east. It's just crazy. We're seeing strange things in the sky, cube-shaped UFOs that are coming out of portals. We're seeing these strange beams of light all over the world. Sinkholes are forming. Increased volcanic activity. Our animals are, the whales, the animals, they're dying in numbers. 30 whales dead in Alaska since May. We've got baby seals dying on the Pacific coastline. We've got sardines, starfish melting. If that's from Fukushima's radiation, I don't know, but we've got to get back to really honoring Earth. And I think our prayers and intentions will help. I mean, we have to come together to do that too, in numbers, to start doing this.
What kinds of things do these indigenous cultures talk about that give you hope that we can change this around?
Well, it's kind of interesting. In 2004, 13 Indigenous grandmothers from around the world heard this calling because they knew that Earth is going to go through a big transition. And many of them from around the world didn't know each other. I mean, they'd never heard of each other, but they had this calling to come to Phoenicia, New York, and gather and say prayers and ceremonies. But they have been told, many of them have been told from sky people, they call them sky people, ETs, dimensional beings, that we are going to go through a cleansing. That we are in a dire situation. We have to clean up our mess right now. We are going to get help from these people, but you know, there's just this great separation sickness that we've forgotten how to honor Earth. And so they're telling us that we have to get back to it. The Australian Aboriginals, Aborigines talk about they came from the stars. They have a legend that they came from the stars. And what's really interesting is they came to Earth when Earth needed help and the grid was out of alignment. And so they had a way of balancing the grid. And they say now that because we are taking all the minerals out of the Earth, the uranium, the gold, you know, everything out of the Earth, the oil, that we are causing this imbalance with Mother Earth. And so we need to get back to that balance again. So it's really interesting that they have these legends, and that's what I write about in Earth Energy, that there are these incredible legends. And I think legends are really factual stories in some way. Some of them have been embellished through the years, but I think they come from truth. And you know, that's something we have to get back to. I write about the water elements, the earth element, the fire element, the air element, the plant spirits, the animal spirits, mineral spirits. Everything has consciousness. You know, everything is alive. I spent time with Native American Corbin Harney. He was the spiritual leader of the Western Shoshone tribe. He died in 2007, but what an incredible man. And he said, you know, we have to get back to honoring everything. We have to talk to everything. Go out there and talk to the trees. I know that sounds crazy, but they are alive. They give us oxygen. They are beings. They can't walk around. They can't do things that we do, but here we are destroying massive, you know, rainforests, and they give us oxygen. My goodness, look what we're doing. So, you know, it's you know, I'm here to try and awaken our reverence, our gratitude for our planet. Is that a mouthful?
That is a mouthful, and it's just like,
here we go. Yeah.
I mean, I find it interesting that there are so many people that can't even go there, that can't wrap their mind around it, even from an intuitive point of view. Like, I don't really know anything about gardening, you know. But I put it, you know, I moved and I have a place and we put it in a garden. And as we're like getting the soil ready, I'm like digging my hands in and moving it around. And my boyfriend's like, well, you know, you could use this shovel and this screen thing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
oh, Dr. Rita.
I'm like putting my mojo into the earth. I don't know. It seems right.
You know, and how many people actually go out? I mean, most kids now, and I hate to say this because I grew up around nature. I was outside playing all the time, climbing trees, hiking, climbing rocks in the canyon, Snake River Canyon. You know, I was doing all kinds of things. And my parents loved to camp. We'd go to the mountains. And I've always known that there is this energy in everything. And I see kids now, and all they're doing is their heads are down and they're texting or, you know, on their phones, their cell phones. And, you know, how many of these kids get out there and understand what nature is about? And I think that's a great sadness in our, you know, our culture right now. You know, it's just sad to see all that. You know, if they knew that like water has negative ions and those are the good ions that give us energy, even Hippocrates noticed 2,300 years ago that his patients benefited from certain kinds of air, that he'd tell them to take long walks by the sea because that has the negative ions. Mountains have negative ions. Shamans and holy people have always gone to tall mountains to pray and beseech the elements and ancestors. And, so, I just think it's so important that we do return to that.
I agree.
Do you? Yeah, we do. We've just forgotten.
But we feel better.
Yes, we
feel
do.
better. You go camping
Absolutely.
for a couple of days or whatever out in nature, away from the electronics. You step
Mhm.
away from the computer,
Yeah.
and there's always this refreshing feeling that you have. And if you're
Mhm.
out there for a week, you think, I mean, I always think it's like, do I really have to go back?
Right, right. Yeah, I feel that way. I feel so different when I get around the mountains. I can't even explain it. It's just this maybe the spiritual experience that I feel. I feel so free and just relieved to be from, away from the traffic, the craziness that's going on in our world. And right now, everything is accelerating. We're having more violence in the world. There's just this chaos that's going on, and to get away from it, what better place than, nature to escape all that?
One of the things that you talked about a little bit earlier is about the grid being out of bounds. So I'm
Mhm,
assuming that there's a connection with the ley lines. But
mhm.
here's the question. You made a comment about, we're taking out all the uranium and the
Right,
gold and the oil.
right.
Um, and that was kind of an aha moment. It's like, oh, that totally makes sense. If it was
Yeah,
put in or established based on what was there and we're taking all this stuff out,
yeah.
um, it's like taking that little metal piece off your tire that balances it. It's like it's gonna thunk, thunk, thunk.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't even know what we could do. I mean, it's not, we don't know how to, well, we don't even believe in a grid, much less how we could fix something now that we've taken it all out.
Mhm.
And I don't mean to be totally sarcastic, even though, that is my
You
way.
can. Oh,
We can take all our like recyclable aluminum cans and stick it into the holes. I mean, I don't even know.
well, look what's going on with the fracking. And scientists are saying that a lot of these weird earthquakes that we're getting in Kansas and in Oklahoma, we've had hundreds and hundreds of earthquakes, small earthquakes there, and even in Lakeview, and Texas. I know Texas has had some pretty weird earthquakes too in fracking areas. So there is a connection. When we're taking the oil out, that is the lubricant for Mother Earth. That lubricates the faults and everything. And here we are pulling all that oil out, and we're taking the water out. And with fracking, they're actually putting toxins into the earth, the water, to pull out the gas and the oil. So here we are putting poisons in our waters. I know, it's insane. What are we doing? We've lost our minds. Dr. Rita, we have actually lost our minds with what we're doing. Here we're poisoning our water. Our water is so precious. And here we are. The oceans are full of all kinds of toxins that we're putting in there, the plastics, the water. Our lakes are dying. We hear about it all the time. And look what just happened recently with the EPA, with that great big toxic spill from that mine near Durango, Colorado, and it turned the Animas River, yellow. I mean, they had lead and arsenic running through there. And of course, they've lied about everything like they do, just like Fukushima. We don't know the full extent of what's going on. We can't continue this. It's just nuts what we're doing to our planet.
It's
And
crazy.
it is. But, I really believe, and, I know we were going to talk about that. There's so much doom and gloom around it, but with what's happening with our planet. But I really believe we create our own reality. And I don't mean that in just a spiritual way, in a literal way. We create our reality with our thoughts. And right now, there is so much fear and chaos in the world, so much separation. I mean, we're seeing, the blacks angry, the whites angry. We have ISIS going on, and just incredible things going on right now. So we're putting all that fear, all that anger and fear into the earth. And right now, Earth is responding. She is feeling it. It's the boomerang theory. What we do comes back to us.
It just came to my mind. I mean, and I think you'll get this, but when we ground, I mean, fear is a first chakra energy, it's a root
Hmm.
chakra energy, and we ground into the earth, and it makes me go, wow, are we just sending all of that fear
Yeah.
right into the planet itself?
Yeah. When 9/11 happened, there were two satellites orbiting the Earth. It was GOES 8 and 10, I believe. And at the time, there was a huge spike when the first plane hit the tower, that it was off the chart, the magnetic pulse. And they said they'd never seen anything like it. And also when the second plane, or when the first plane hit, and then, one building went down and then the other buildings went down, but it was huge. It was just huge. And so they believed that energy that we produce, went out into the atmosphere. I mean, it was it was incredible. So our thoughts do create our reality. Many There are quantum theories, there are, that believe we're in a matrix, that we have actually created all this. It's hard to believe, but maybe we are creating our own reality right now. Maybe this is, we're caught into this world where, because our energy is so unfocused right now, that we are creating everything right now. And it's just going to accelerate until we all wake up at the same time. What do you think?
Well, I think so. And I think it's interesting you brought forward I'm going to say conspiracy theory about us living in a matrix,
Mhm.
but your voice said, well, I don't know that it's necessarily true. Um, but there's this but that I have that people think that I'm wishy-washy about. It's like I can't say it's not true.
I know. We can't. We can't. And we're just learning so much about our invisible, the invisible world around us, with all the scientific things going on, there's so many theories that there are other universes, there are other parallel worlds. I read about it every day, and I've posted it on my Earth News One blog every day, that there's these theories that there is another world that coexists with our own. And many people believe that these UFOs, these beings that are coming in right now, if you want to believe in that, I do. I know they're here. But yeah, I believe it absolutely, that there is an invisible world. I've experienced since I was 3 years old. And I was shown these earth changes coming. 7 years old, I started dreaming recurring dreams of huge earth changes. I was dreaming of earthquakes, huge earthquakes, and volcanoes going off. I was with a group of people trying to escape the volcanoes, and then I'd be standing on a pier somewhere and see these huge waves coming in. So I felt, and my predictions are on my website. They can go there, my 2015 predictions. A lot of them have come true already, but about these earth changes. And I have sensed that we are in this time right now. And I just want people to be prepared, because I think everyone is going to experience these earth changes in some way. The Native Americans say we're going from the fourth world into the fifth world. And the fifth world, the fourth world is the cleansing. And the fifth world will be where we arrive, where everything is cleansed and new again, a new earth, a new planet. And, the way we're going, there's 7.2 billion people on the earth right now, and we're still growing, and we're using up all our natural resources. What are we going to do? I mean, we can't go to another planet. We can't go to the moon. We can't go to Mars. We can't escape it. If we destroy our planet, what are we going to do?
Well, and we're going to come back to that concept here in a second, because I talked about something and I want to jump back there.
Okay, let's
first.
do. Okay, sure.
You're talking about all these earth changes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me reminisce about the whole biblical apocalyptic, we have these people that, are running around, the seven seals, and I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really pay attention to that. Too much. But do you think that the prediction that we do get, from the book of Revelation is actually part and parcel with these kind of apocalyptic or earth change messages that we're getting from these indigenous cultures?
It could be. They're all saying the same thing. The Maya, the Hopi, they have their prophecies. The 13 indigenous grandmothers have their prophecies, and they have foreseen all these. They've been warned by sky beings or sky people that something is going to happen. And of course, the Bible talks about something which almost reminds me of what would happen if there was a shift of the Earth's axis. And many people believe there's a planet X out there. I'm still not sure. There's something there. I think we've got many things happening with our planet right now. I think that we have people that are experimenting. We've got CERN in Switzerland that are turning on this huge cauldron, right? That is supposed to find the God particle, right? And who knows what that's doing to our Earth. There's HARP, which we're talking about resonance and what it does to the planet. We've got so many things going on with who knows what our governments are doing, experiments that they're doing on our planet. And I think there might be an outside force that's possible. It's Planet X is supposed to be a failed star, a brown dwarf that comes through our solar system every 3,600 years. And depending on how close it comes to Earth, it causes a lot of Earth changes. And, we've had that for thousands of years, these Earth changes. So was it Planet X out there that comes through there? Because what's really interesting is that our solar system has only one sun. It's not a binary solar system like all other solar systems out there, two suns. So could Planet X be that failed star? It's possible.
It could be president. It's possible.
You could. Well, I'd vote for you, Dr. Rita. I would in a heartbeat. You're so cute.
Why do you think we've lost our connection with nature and the things that our ancestors held so dear? I in my exploration of antiquity and stuff, it's really when we developed agriculture and cultivated cities that it seems like this split happened. But do you have any thoughts or any insights from the elders as to why we shifted?
Well, I think you're right when you were talking about the 1800s, and we viewed any indigenous culture as savages and primitive, instead of looking at their beautiful religions and their thoughts about invisible beings and worlds and everything is alive, we consider, and I think there's always been that fear with the people that have been running our world that, women were burned as witches, because they feared them. um, it was control, 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 and that's what it's always been in our world. Supposedly our world is a free will planet and we can do whatever we want, and there are those that are on the dark side, if you want, the white hats and the dark hats, and they control our world, the dark hats. Right now we're seeing so much going on, and like I said, it's going to continue accelerating. We've just got to awaken to what's happening to our planet. And I think when we awaken, more and more are awakening to what's happening with our planet. And I think that awakening will change things in our world, because more and more people are speaking out. Instead of being passive, they are going out. They're protesting. There's peaceful protests out there. There's people just writing to the Congress people. They're making a change with many things, and that's the way to do it. We have a voice, and I think we've got to speak out. Corbin Harney he used to say that he was behind the bush for years, and that meant that he didn't want to speak out. He was afraid to speak out, and suddenly he began speaking out. He was out there protesting against the nuclear experiments and tests that they were doing in Nevada, and he knew that what it was doing to the waters and everything in that area, and he was out there protesting with many, many people trying to stop it. And finally they did, but after what what consequences.
I mean, it just seems like we are constantly poisoning ourselves. But
Uh-huh.
let me ask you this. It almost seems like with this transition that the group that came into control have intentionally been taking us down the wrong path. And even
Mm-hmm.
as we move forward with people talking about global warming and this and that, there's still there's the talk in the one hand and then there's the action in the other hand, which
Right.
doesn't equal the talk.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And have you noticed that one side will say one thing that's very positive about something, and then another one will come along and dispute it, and so we're constantly being confused. What is the truth? And I think that's totally on purpose to confuse us, and they're doing a good job, aren't they?
But that's the whole thing, and you're not the first person that I get confused with this whole thing. It's like, well, what's the end game? You
What
know,
is, I know, control,
but
total
control
control.
what? Control to like decimate our planet and have it
Mm.
be, worse than my garage and worse
I
than any cesspool that
I
nobody can live here?
Exactly. That's what I wonder. The chemtrails. I know a lot of people don't believe it, but I've been watching these chemtrails since the 90s. I know, I grew up, I used to watch the skies all my life, and I know that when I was growing up, there was no chemtrails. There was contrails, and they dissipate very quickly. But these contrails since the 90s spread out across the whole sky, and they changed the clouds. It's geoengineering. They're changing our weather. And for what purpose? I mean, there's poisons they're putting in our skies. And where does that stuff go? It falls to the ground. It goes into our water. It goes into our plants. And look at GMO. What are
Ugh.
they doing? I mean,
I
these
don't know.
these people have children. Don't they care about their own children? I mean, what is wrong with these people? Is it all greed? Is it all power? I'm just flabbergasted. That's the only word I can say right now of what we're doing to our earth. And, like I said, Even here, I live in Boise, Idaho, and I get so upset with what I see. We have a little park over here that I walk to, and I see tons of garbage that's thrown, all this plastic. They won't get a container. I've asked them to get a container out there to recycle plastic. Oh, we can't do this. They've got all kinds of, excuses why they can't get plastic, recycle the plastic. So it's going right into the landfills, and plastic takes hundreds of years to break down, even in our oceans. It'll break down into small pieces, and then our fish eat it, and then we eat the fish, and we wonder why we have so much cancer in our world. You know, it's just a vicious cycle. It really is.
And it just seems there are times when I look at what's going on and I think that this power base, and I hate even saying this out loud, that this power base in the direction that civilization, the Western world is going, is kind of like the Antichrist.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Because
Yeah.
it's taking us totally away from our center and what's
Hmm.
best and from what quote unquote God intended for us.
Yeah, exactly. I don't believe that there is an antichrist per se, but if you maybe a group of people that are the antichrist,
Well, and
and
I'm thinking more mentality.
right, right, you're right. No, you're right, absolutely, and that's what I believe too. Yeah.
Um, do you think with everything that's going on
Hmm.
that that in order for this huge shift to happen, that there needs to be a global disaster? I mean, we know from the mythological record, that for Noah and all the other people that have myth stories, there was the flood that decimated
Right.
everyone. Do you think we need to have that level of trauma occur on the planet in order to straighten things out?
Good question. Good question, Dr. Rita. It seems that when disasters befall humans, we go into action. We change, we think about others. Now, not everyone does that, but a great many people do. They become heroes. Look at some of these hurricanes, Hurricane Sandy and the people that came out, the heroes, the people that helped others, Katrina. We've just seen it in so many disasters with these flash floods that have happened. People will come forward, and I think that's really a test to what the human spirit is, because we have so much compassion. So many people do when a disaster happens, and it might be a real wake up call for us.
Whack up the side of the head.
Yeah, a whack. Hello, wake up.
Well, and I think a lot of people don't want to experience the whack, but it really is the only way that we stop and go, oh, maybe I should be doing something else.
Hmm. Right, right. Yeah, exactly. And I think we have to get back to a simpler life. Technology is wonderful. And I don't mean go back to primitive days. I just mean more of a natural way of living, using more natural energy sources instead of, the nuclear and pulling all the oil out of the earth. There's wind power, there's solar power, there's all kinds of other power, um, water power. There's just so many other things that are natural that aren't going to harm the earth, and everything that we seem to do just harms the creatures, everything. We just can't seem to get that balance again, and maybe a simpler life would be the answer.
Well, it seems like we're always robbing Peter to pay Paul. Well, we'll take this over here to make this
Mhm.
better, but then
Mhm.
this.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. They destroy one species and then it destroys another one. It causes a chain reaction, the domino theory, and pretty soon you've wiped out a whole species of either plants or animals or something. It's just crazy what we're doing. But I do believe that I do see a better earth coming. I do see a cleansed earth. I do see people changing. I do see all these great things coming.
I mean, there are some people, kind of like myself included, that believe that we would almost have to knock ourselves back into a stone age to, and I'm being very
Yeah, no,
serious, in
I know.
order
Yeah.
to break through the paradigm that we
Mhm.
currently have, this
Right,
reliance on technology, this mindset of power and control, and not unity and harmony.
right, right. Yeah, absolutely. It may take all that, to awaken our planet, awaken us, humanity, and where we have become. I see hope in the new children that are coming in. I'm writing a new book called Super Kids, and I believe that many of these children, not all of them, but many of these children coming in have a higher vibration. They're the new evolved humans. There have been different waves of them. The first wave came in starting in 1948, and a lot of these people started, helping the next wave that came in, and we're in the third wave of these new children, incredible children that remember past lives, that see spirits. They just know the future. They are talented in art and science. They're way beyond their years. They're precocious children, and they're going to change our world. I think that's part of it. Everything is evolving. I believe that everything evolves. The planet evolves, we evolve, and it seems like we're devolving right now. But I do believe that there is that wave that's coming in. These new children that will start changing the earth.
That don't get inoculations.
Yes. Oh, well, and a lot of these children, the sad thing is, they are being drugged with Ritalin, because they're diagnosed with ADHD and, everything else. And we can't continue drugging these children because they're vibrating different. And I wish, so many of these parents could understand what is going on with these beautiful, beautiful children. And they're here to help the earth. They knew, that they had a mission, and they came in, and here they are. We've got to help them.
Well, if they sent them outside to play or to do things
Hmm.
other than sitting in front of the TV or sitting in front of the computer, then they might, they might not have so many issues.
That's
Give
right.
them a box of crayons. Come
Well,
on, that
I
works.
I know. I was talking to my husband about, when we grew up, and, the things that we had were so simple, but yet we had so much fun, with the simple things that we did, going outside. We had slumber parties. We went hiking. We rode our bikes. We did all kinds of things with nature, and we didn't, our parents didn't worry about us. I mean, we would be gone for hours, and now people have to worry about their children being kidnapped, and it's crazy world.
Hmm.
I never imagined I would see all that. I grew up where there was pristine lakes, and some of these lakes that I remember seeing when I was growing up are now polluted, and it saddens me greatly.
I'll bet. I'll
Yeah,
bet.
yeah.
And I find it kind of hard to believe that these children are coming through based on this environment. And I know what you're talking about. I mean, they're brilliant and magnificent
Yes.
and
Mhm.
intuitive, but they
Yes.
come through, and I hate to sound really funky about this, through potentially parents that don't have good nutrition,
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
have grown up on McDonald's
Oh,
and that
geez.
kind of stuff, into an environment where we have
Yes.
this bad air, bad water, bad
Yeah.
food,
Yeah.
and yet they display these remarkable qualities.
Mhm. That's right. That's right. And that's something I write about in the book, about all the toxins that are in our food and how we can get away from that, and like the detergents to get environmentally friendly, you know, different detergents and things like that. Everything has the lauryl sulfites in it. We've got to get away from all that. Just get back to more natural things and think about helping Earth. Save the Earth. Um, I offer many things in there to help save the Earth, and with the plastics, we go to the store, we get all these plastic bags, and bring your own bags when you can, your cloth bags when you can go shopping, and let's get rid of all this plastic. You start using more glass. That's another way to get away from all that. There's so many things that we can do to help Mother Earth right now, and all it takes, I love what the Dalai Lama said. He said, if you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. I mean, that really says it all, doesn't it? We can. And that's part of the butterfly effect. It's this physics concept, which is an idea that a single butterfly flapping its wings on one side of the globe can, in theory, start a hurricane on the other side. And that's what it's really saying, is that we can do anything. We together, we can do anything and create anything in a new world. And we can create a better world, one that's in balance, one that's in harmony. We can start we can honor our bodies more, our living temple with natural food and sleep. We can love and forgive all, rid yourself of prejudice, practice real truth each day, pray, visualize, meditate, and intend a new world, a healed planet for all. Be in gratitude, appreciate your life, the planet, and all the blessings that come into your life. Practice ceremony, get outside, take time to talk to the trees, smell the flowers, give thanks to all life. Be kind to animals. There's so much animal abuse out there, and they are sentient beings. And I believe animals have souls. I don't know what you believe, Dr. Rita, but, animals are beautiful. Do you have a pet? Yes.
1 dog, 3 cats, and 6
Oh, do
chickens.
you ever? Well, you know how smart animals are, and they have personalities. They feel emotions. They're so intelligent. And what I see in so many instances and read about, it just breaks my heart to see what is happening to so many animals and the way they're treated. Even the animals we eat, there's so much of the fear hormone in beef and other animals because they aren't raised in love, and they're not on grazing lands. It's crazy. We've got to get back to all that. Honor them.
And you're talking about all this stuff, and definitely we all need to do our part and step up to the plate. But then there are all of these corporations that also need to be part of the solution, which is where I feel like the biggest resistance is. And this is just one of my pet peeves is, these companies will put out like their green product and then turn around and charge astronomical amounts of money. I mean, like organic farming, I can understand that is more expensive because there's just not the volume. And so there's a cost benefit analysis.
Right.
But when Ziploc is making an environmentally friendly bag that basically is a thinner material of plastic than their regular bag, it's costing them less and they're charging you more because it's green. I'm sorry. I have issues with that.
I do too. Such greed. It's, I just can't take it. I can't. Oh my goodness. I think I remember when Coca-Cola came out and they tried to change their formula.
With the Coke?
Yes, and everybody had a fit. Nobody bought it, right? So what did they do? Because everybody demanded that they wanted the old Coca-Cola back, it came back. and they change things. I mean, we can do things if we come together in numbers. We can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you think there's hope for us?
I do. I do. I think there's enough people coming into the world. And, it may take longer for some others to awaken, but I think, we're all going to start awakening. And I think I'm going to talk about this weird stuff that's going on. The strange beams of light, they're actually shafts of light. Now, I know some of the
I
things
know
that,
I've seen pictures
yeah,
of it and I'm like, okay,
right.
that's kind of weird. Okay,
It
talk
is.
about that because that's interesting.
Okay. Well, I think some of it's been photoshopped, of course. Everybody jumps on the bandwagon and has to post something on YouTube. But I believe, now there are a bunch of people that saw the one in Nevada, and it wasn't just one person. And I think these things are from, spiritual beings that are trying to help our planet. Because we all affect each other. We're all related. We're all connected. Even these ETs or dimensional beings, because if our world dies, it'll affect other worlds. And it's we do, just like everything here, to the smallest degree. When we change something, it changes something else. There are a cause and effect with everything. And so they are here to help us. I think. I think that's what's going on.
I mean, my first impression when I saw them was Thor coming down Bifrost to the earth.
Really?
Well,
Wow.
I mean, because there are stories that talk about the gods traveling via
Hmm.
rainbows, which in
Hmm.
Norse it's Bifrost. So if anyone's seen the movie Thor, he comes in that whoosh
Yeah.
of light.
Right.
That was where my mind immediately went when I
Yeah.
saw those things.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Did you get a negative or any kind of
No,
other feeling from it? Okay.
no,
Okay.
just kind of like, woo. It was
Yeah.
definitely more of like a ghosty woo kind of thing.
Yeah, right, right. Well, I have predicted that we're going to see more of these weird things like that. Did you see that video of that cube-shaped UFO that came out of a portal over El Paso, Texas in June? It was June 29th that all
I don't
kinds of
think
people have
so.
caught it. Oh my God.
I'll
Yeah.
have to go look that one up.
Yeah, yeah, look it up. It is the weirdest thing I have ever seen. But we're going to see more things in the sky, weird things. Get ready.
Well, and it just gets hard sometimes because there are so many people that are just putting hoax stuff out there
Mhm,
to
mhm.
separate out the good from the bad. And I mean, I try, if it's something that I think is a little controversial, to find it in multiple places, but somehow these hoaxes proliferate all these sites.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. There's so much garbage on the internet. You have to sort through all the garbage and, trust your intuition on some of this stuff. If it doesn't feel right, it's not. There's so many garbage books out there too, just telling us all kinds of lies that we want to hear, and we're so gullible too. We want to believe everything, don't we?
That's right. I mean, unless you buy like Betsy's book or my books because they're like absolute
They are
truth.
the truth.
That's right.
Well, it's the truth as we know it.
Shh.
Shh. Oh,
Betsy, I'm looking at the clock and we need to wrap up.
okay. It's gone fast.
It is
Wow.
really fast, but
Yeah.
thank you so much and thank you
Thank
for such a
you.
great book.
Oh, thank you. It's been an honor. It's always great to talk to you.
Well, I love talking to you and I can't wait for your new book. So, any thought on when that one's going to be available?
Probably before the end of the year this year, probably in December. Yeah, I'm excited. And yeah, I'd love to, come back on your show and have you back on my show
Well,
too.
that would be great.
Okay,
All
that's a
righty.
deal.
All right.
Well, thank
And Amazon.com, all the regular outlets for your book.
Right, right. And they can go to my website, betseylewis.com. And Betsy's a little bit different. It's Betsey, Lewis, Lewis.com. I have a daily blog, which is my Earth News One blog on my website. So they can go there and see all these weird things that are going on with the planet and, in our skies.
Perfect. All right, girl, I'm going to let you go. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. That's Betsey Lewis. Her book is Earth Energy, Return to Ancient Wisdom. I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Just Energy Radio. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Just Energy Radio with your host, Dr. Rita Louise, will return right after these messages.